Alright, part 5. This is the most involved section, so a lot of this is slow. But I think it's important because it was the stuff that I questioned myself on doing this process. So you see these are the metal inserts for the lower control arm bushings. And I'm just cleaning off all the rubber residue off of them. Use some emery paper, which was actually kind of fun. Very gratifying. My thought here was that the smoother and less old rubber on these, the easier they will be to put into the new bushings. This is, these are pressed together normally, and there's a bushing there and everything. But when you press this out, the ring here that holds that washer on is too big to fit back into the washer because you pressed it off. So I used my vise here and just did a little tiny bit of pressure on it and then rotated it, a little bit more pressure, rotate, pressure, rotate, pressure, rotate, over and over again, and that, smushed it back down to size. See there, now the washer fits on. Ta-da. Okay. Next problem is the washer is concave from when you press it off. So I said, I'll just use my vise, right, to press it back flat with I was actually using some of the ball joint adapters and a socket. My vise was too wimpy for this. Your vise might be strong enough for this, whatever. So I tried it. By putting a socket on there that was smaller than the diameter, but that didn't work. So I have a cheap Harbor Freight press here, and I did the same setup with the socket and the ball joint adapter, and then just put a little pressure on it. Go slow. You don't want to go past where you want to go. You just want to get it flat again. So flat, ta-da. You see it fits on like that. So now you're ready to go to the next phase, which is putting the bushing and the metal sleeve all back into the control arm. You know from watching previous videos that I like stuff clean, so here we are cleaning up the control arm to get it ready for the new bushing. Using a wire bristle brush and some emery cloth. Okay, it's clean. Now we're ready for some grease. So again, light coats of grease on everything, and you don't get a lot of grease with the kit, so I tried to make sure I got every little tiny last drop out of the little packets. So coat everything with a nice light coat, and I did actually have enough grease to complete the whole project. Those little packets were enough, you just can't go crazy with it. Make sure you get a nice coating on the bushing and on the metal control arm. And these bushings, these press in from the inside, whereas the upper is pressed in from the outside of the control arm, these press from the inside. So same deal, I started the metal sleeve in the bushing, and then started the bushing in the control arm, and then pressed the whole thing in. And that was enough to get it started. I couldn't press it all in by hand. And then I used the vise to press it in until the metal sleeve was hitting the other jaw of the vise. And then I had to use the ball joint adapter to press it in the rest of the way. So, it doesn't take a lot of force, but it's just more force than you can do with, or at least than I could do with my bare hands. So then I just use that ball joint press again. I'm telling you, like the best free dollars that I've ever spent. And just push it until the flange of that metal sleeve is pushed tight against the control arm there. All the extra grease I just put on the other side so I don't waste any. Like I said, you only get the small packets, but it is enough if you are judicial with it. Next, I cleaned off that metal sleeve where it's going to be inside the washer with a rag, just so there wasn't like grease in there. And then you marked the washer and the metal sleeve, right? So you have the pair. Yes, this is good. This is why we used the paint marker on this and mark them, because even though they seem like they're the same, when you press them off they have just little irregularities. So using the same washer that was on the sleeve makes this easier. Then I tried to hold it on and hit it with a hammer. That worked. It was just awkward. When I did the other side of this control arm, you'll see I did it a different way. And then once it's on, you have to bend that like a little flange out again onto the washer to hold the washer in place. And I used you know, just a hammer and a small punch to do that. And it's kind of tedious work, but you know, you're just rolling over that flange onto the washer, spreading it out so that the washer doesn't fall off. Once this whole assembly is mounted in the control arm holds that washer in place. And then there was a little rust on the inside. I don't know if you remember from the previous videos, but there was a little rust on the inside of that. So I just wanted to clean that out, and then I put in some regular old wheel bearing grease in there just to keep it from rusting. Alright, so we'll clean that up a little bit. Like I said, that grease is super nasty and sticky, so I just cleaned it up a little brake clean. Alright, so we're ready to do the next side. Clean up that metal insert again. I'm going to go a little bit faster here now that you've seen how to do this. But here we're bending that flange on the metal sleeve in to make it fit inside of the washer again. Not quite enough, so we'll go a little bit more. Go like careful on this, or you can break that flange off, which I don't know how detrimental that would be, but probably not good. Okay, there we go. For the second time, we're good. And now we can grease up some bushings and repeat the process that we did on the other side. Insert the metal sleeve into the bushing like so. And then press it in from the inside. Just enough to get it started in there, and then take it out of the vise and use the vise to push everything into place. Like I said, this doesn't take a lot of effort. It's just awkward and whatever. And then we can finish pushing that bushing into place with the ball joint press after we have the control arm back in the vise. And there we are, just a different shot, pulling it all together nice and tight. Alright, now this time I used the vise to put the washer back on, which actually worked a lot better. You know, it felt more controlled. I wasn't hammering the washer back and forth or anything. It just pushed on without any drama. Once it was on the sleeve, then I used the punch and the hammer again to bend that little flange around washer. And that's about it. Take a little close up here. You can see the flange, then it's bent around the washer, and you're done.